Thank you for viewing this overview on connecting Microsoft Flow to Dynamics 365 for Financials. Let's jump right in and take a look at how you can get up and running with Flow and seamlessly integrate with Financials to improve your business efficiency. Today you have cloud solutions everywhere, whether it's in the form of emails, files, notifications such as text messages, project management, or even social media. Whether you know it or not, you have a long list of cloud services that you're using constantly throughout your workday. The challenge historically has always been connecting them. You've been required to put people in the middle. This creates a manual copy and paste from one service to the other, which is time consuming and also a tedious process. To help solve this challenge, you can insert Microsoft Flow. Microsoft Flow helps you work smarter by automating workflow across your apps and services. For example, you can receive notifications, such as a text message, when your manager emails you and you want to be notified. Sync OneDrive for Business and SharePoint. Sync between CRM and other systems such as financials. Collect and save tweets about your company to a spreadsheet, or send yourself an email digest of those tweets. And finally, you can automate your inside processes, such as PTO approvals. These are just a few ways that currently Microsoft Flow can help you improve your business efficiency. You can get started quickly by simply using any of the hundreds of useful templates. These templates are pre-configured flows that contain the configuration you need to get started. Each template represents some sort of triggering event, and then actions, to get you up and running a more efficient business in a matter of just minutes. You can integrate the systems that you're already using with Microsoft Flow. Whether your business uses OneDrive, MailChimp for email services, or even Twitter and Facebook, you can automatically connect to these services to Flow. If you want to access to a service that currently isn't available to connect to, you can even bring in your own API. Flows can be created easily by using the Visual Designer if you'd prefer to build a completely custom flow to perfectly fit your business need. For example, here you can see how the Visual Designer was used to create a flow that triggered an email when a new file was added to Dropbox. The designer walks you through the process step by step, allowing you to customize every trigger and responding action to a complete flow in a matter of minutes. You can get started today by visiting flow.microsoft.com. For this walkthrough and demonstration, we'll be walking through the process of creating a Dynamics 365 for Financials dataset that can be used to build a custom flow. That'll be followed by an example of a real-life flow that can be used to send you an email alert if certain discounts were triggered in your financial system. There are two ways in which we can create a dataset within Financials. One is to use the Assisted Setup wizard right on the top of the page under Actions. You simply click that, and when the Assisted Setup view appears, we're going to click on Setup Reporting. This opens the Dataset wizard, and we can click Next to proceed. We want to create a new dataset, which is selected by default, so we can choose Next here. Here we enter the details of our dataset. We'll want to remember the name so we can access it from the Flow Visual Designer later on. We will call this one My Sales Header for reference. For this example, we know our details are in the data source ID number 45, which is a sales list that contains the header we need to trigger a line discount flow. Once this is set up, we simply click Next. The next page pulls in all of the fields that are contained in the chosen dataset. You can scroll through and check or uncheck only the things that you will be required for your flow. We've already done that in this example, so we're ready to hit Publish. That's all it takes. We've now successfully published our new dataset from Financials, and we're ready to use it in Flow. You'll want to keep this OData URL handy so you can import it into Flow later on. So when you're going through the process, simply copy and paste this into Microsoft Word or Notepad so you can quickly and easily access it later on. Once you've done that, we simply hit Finish. Now we're ready to go out and create our Financials flow by signing in at flow.microsoft.com. Simply click Sign In at the top right of the page and enter your credentials. Once we've done that, you can search for flow templates right here on the homepage or visit your flows. Since we're creating a new one, we want to click on My Flows. We'll be creating a flow from blank today, rather than using a template, so we'll be selecting Create a Flow from Blank. For this specific example, we're going to create a flow that will automatically send us an email if a sales order line discount is applied above 10%. This will alert us of an error on a line item, or it could be used to alert us if an employee is breaking our organizational policy. So we simply go over and click on the box that says Create a Flow from blank. From the list of available services, since we're using Dynamics 365 for Financials for this flow, we want to search Financials up in the search box. From there, you'll have two options to select for Financials. You can either trigger when a record is created or trigger when it's modified. For this flow, we'll be using the triggering the action when a new record is created. So that's going to be our trigger, and we simply select that. Before we select our table, we need to connect to the data set that we created earlier by clicking on the ellipses. When we click that, we want to add a new connection for Dynamics 365 for Financials. So we're going to click Add New Connection. Flow will display a connection page that prompts you for the information that is required to connect to your financials data. To connect, you must specify a name for the connection, an OData URL which we saved from earlier, your financials username, your web services key from financials, and the company name that you want to connect to. Here's how that data looks when we fill it in. First, we want to give our flow a connection name. For this example, we'll use new customer record trigger. Then we input that OData feed URL from earlier, our username that we pull out of financials, and the web services key that we pull out of financials by searching for users and clicking on admin, since that's this particular user. Finally, you must choose the financials company you want this flow to work for. For this example, as you can see, we're going to use it for Cronus US. One quick tip is that all the authentication fields are case sensitive, so pay close attention to this when inputting your information. Once we double check the information, we simply hit Create. Now that your connection is created, we need to choose our financials table name. We set this up earlier as My Sales Order for this flow. So once we input that, we choose Add a New Step right below in the Visual Designer. Then we choose if we want to add an action or a condition. For triggering an email in this case, we will select Add a Condition. So we simply click on Add Condition. Now we input our condition details. Since we're creating a flow that alerts of a line item discount, our object name will be line discount percentage for this example. You can see we've input that there under our object name. And then we want our relationship to be chosen as is greater than and our value to be 10%. This way our action will be triggered when a discount is input that is greater than 10% on our sales order. We then want to add an action to set up our email. So we simply select Add an Action. Here we choose who this email is going to go to within our organization, the subject line of that email, and the body of the email that will be sent. You can have these flows alert multiple members of our organization if you'd like to. For this example, we're simply going to put in ModAdmin, and as you can see, the subject line and body are input as well. This will alert that user of the exact cue that they need to pay attention to. In this case, since we're using discount abuse for the line item that's greater than 10%. Next, we simply name our flow for reference. In this case, we want to name it discount abuse. Once we have a name, as you can see, we're ready to hit Create Flow. We double check all of our information below in the Visual Designer, and then we hit Done to complete the process. Now let's go test it out. So now we're going to see that our flow works. We go back into Dynamics 365 for Financials. We set up a demo sales order here, and we apply a line item discount of 30%, which is obviously greater than our condition of 10% and should trigger the discount abuse email that we just set up in Microsoft Flow. So once we do that, we're going to go check our inbox, and as to be expected, once this sales order was actually created, our flow automatically sent the proper individual an email with the content we input into our custom flow, and the individual can now handle the issue immediately, which may have otherwise gone unnoticed without this automated process. And it really is that simple. Within a matter of minutes, you can be creating a long list of system automated alerts to ensure financial security within your accounting system by leveraging Microsoft Flow. Visit cloudfinancials.com and set up a demo with our experienced Dynamics 365 for Financials staff if you'd like to dive deeper into the integration between Microsoft Flow and Financials. Thank you for watching and have a great day.